Greetings, class. This is Professor LaShawn Bold in the School of Social Work. I am an assistant professor in practice, and this is the Intro to Social Work course, Social Work 2311, Section 005, 006, 007, and 008. I wanted to come to you and give you a bit of a crash course in navigation here online and show you how to get around in this course. The first thing that I have us do is I'm here in the Start Here area, and I ask for students to create your Blackboard profile. If you already have one, that's fine. If you do not, we would like to be able to see you. We have a lot of discussion boards here, and so it's great to get to know each other for networking purposes. But also, if you want to communicate with me over email and I can know who you are, it's very, very helpful. You can see that I've posted my picture up here in the far right hand corner, and the way that you would post yours is you would click on that little square and then another little square, and then you get the opportunity to do your settings there, and you can post your picture there. So I appreciate it when students do that, so that would be great if you could also. Okay, let me get back to where we are. Button is hidden. Okay, here we are. So this is the Start Here area. And then one of the first things you'll see, usually the first thing that comes up on your Blackboard will be announcements. This is where I frequently post any changes in the course or any extra credit or activities that you can do on campus. There's lots of information here in the announcements. And typically what will happen is when I make an announcement, I will also send it to you on email. So be sure that you are checking your announcements regularly and checking your MyMav email. That's the only email that we can look at or accept. So if you send me a different type of email, I won't be able to accept it or correspond that way. So just use your MyMav email. And this is the announcements section. So if you look over here in Blackboard, let me take off the edit mode here so you can see what it looks like for you. In Blackboard, you'll see your course name there, and then the Start Here. And these are the buttons that will take you different places throughout the course. So let's go to syllabus. And I'm going to do a separate video on the syllabus, but I just want you to know where it is here. Here's where the syllabus is, and here's what the course textbook looks like. This is the textbook that you'll need for this class. It is a wonderful book, and if you were ever even remotely considering being a social worker, you would even want to keep this book. It's got a lot of great things in it about working with people. So even if you don't want to be a social worker, if you have any inclination to work with people at all, you're going to love this class. So that's where the syllabus is. One of the most important areas is right here, this course materials area. And in this area, there are 13 different modules, kind of coinciding with every week of school, but school starts on a Thursday this week, so it gets a little bit jumbled up. So typically we have anywhere from 15 to 16 weeks in a course. This one actually sort of wraps up in the 13th week. So in course materials, that's where everything is that you need. So you're going to want to click on each one, and they coincide with the syllabus. You want to make sure you have the syllabus downloaded as well so you can follow along with that. But here you'll see what that week is about, and then each area is where you'll find things. So really, there's nothing posted here because you need to purchase the textbook, but it's sort of a reminder that you need to read that. If I have other articles or something that I want you to read, I may put them there. But for now, that's all that's there is that little reminder. Now, here's an important part, is the lecture materials. I have voiced over the PowerPoints, but there's also a PowerPoint put out by the publisher. And so in most of your modules, you'll see the PowerPoint by the publisher and then a voiced one. As we get closer to the end of the semester, not all of the PowerPoints are voiced. It just didn't make sense to do that because they're very self-explanatory. But when we first get started, I do voice over some of the PowerPoints, and I think you'll find that helpful. Let me go back to course materials. So I'm going to go back to Module 1. And you can just click around in this, and you really can't break it or anything. Just go through it and look at everything. The videos are fantastic. If you want to dig into social work, it's great to watch the videos. From time to time, I'll ask you to reflect upon the videos, or some of the assignments will be related to the videos. So be sure that you are familiar with where to find those. Sometimes there's web links. Almost every time the publisher has put out some additional web links that'd be helpful to you. There's a lot here in this module on careers and roles of social workers. Very, very interesting. They'd be very helpful when you get to your written assignments too. So remember, your web links are there, and those can be resources for your written assignments as well. And then there's discussions and in-class activities. Whenever you see a discussion board, it's going to be here. Okay, so our very first discussion of introducing yourself is going to be right there. Okay, you can also find discussions, if you look over here to the left, I'm going to click there so you can see it real quick. You can also find them there. That's kind of a quick reference there. This is our first discussion. It's the same thing, whether you get it from course materials or you get it from the discussions area. Okay, I'm going back to course materials, and I'm going to Module 1. And you see through these, see through all of this. And then, okay, so I'm going to look at this discussions again. I just want to show you something. Here's what you do. You click on the area, and then you create a thread. And when you create a thread, most of the time, the instructions will be here. Okay, so our first thing is to post our picture on the profile, and then tell us a little bit about you here in this discussion area. And if you want to post a selfie of yourself here, that'd be cool too. So, you know, if you feel like you want us to know more about you, and you have a picture of you and, you know, your dog or something like that, just to help us get to know you, that'd be fine too. Just a little bit of fun, get to know you information. Okay, I'm going to go back to Okay, so that was discussions and in-class activities. I'm going to just double check. There's no other in-class activities, but there may be at some point other activities. So I'm going to go back to Module 1, and I'm going to look at quizzes. You have a quiz almost every week in this class. This first quiz is designed to check your knowledge of the syllabus. So you're going to want to have the syllabus out too. Just so you know, you can take quizzes twice. I believe that if a student has to go back and look up information in the course text or do further research to get a correct answer, that you are learning in that way also. Know, though, that the quizzes, once you have entered all of your answers and you get a grade, it shuffles the questions again, So they will be different the second time that you take the test. So you can't go in there and just say, oh, this is wrong, I'll just push A, B, C, D. You can't do that. You have to actually reread the test and reread the question, and that's where the learning comes in. Okay. So I'm in course materials. I'm just going to check out Module 2 real fast also. Again, you have readings. There's some lecture materials there. You really don't want to miss anything here, because all of the lecture materials and everything relates to the things that you're going to need for your written assignments and to the quizzes. So be sure you watch the videos to get really the full impact and the full effect of the course. I'm trying to see if there's anything I'm missing here. Again, just scroll on through and click around and see what you find there. Here again is discussions. We already looked at that, and you can click on the discussion, create a thread. Sometimes students like that for a quick reference to get the assignment done. Let's look at major assignments. Okay, you have a couple of major assignments in this class. One is the community assignment. The community assignment is you can do one of two things. You can either volunteer at an agency for 10 hours over the course of the semester, or you can interview a social worker. If you interview a social worker, be sure that that person has a degree in social work. A lot of times people think that they are social workers and they are not because they do not have a degree in social work. According to the Council of Social Work Education, in order to be a social worker or call yourself a social worker, you have to have a degree in social work. In some states, like the state of Texas, you actually have to have a license to call yourself a social worker. So don't assume that anyone is a social worker until you know exactly what their credentials are, because you will not pass that assignment if they aren't a social worker. Okay, so there's one of two options there, so read that for detail. And then the other thing is the Fields of Practice paper. And there's a guide here for you to see with a lot more detail. Unfortunately, the formatting of this is incorrect, so hopefully you can push Enable Editing and you'll be able to see it like this. If you can't see it correctly and you're not able to use the editing, let me know and I'll repost it in a different way. Okay, let me go back here. I'm trying to see. I need to make sure that that assignment is posted in the right place, but I will. Okay, you have a couple of tests. I'm going to go over all of these details on the syllabus again, but just so you know, there are quizzes and there is a midterm and a final in this class. And here on the Fields of Practice paper, it says upload your completed paper to the Dropbox in Module 10. One thing about being online is reading for detail is really important. You've got to read and sometimes reread, and then then you can ask questions. But one of the first things I'm going to say if you email me questions is, did you watch the video or did you read? So that is that. And then you have your grades. You can click and you can see how great you're doing in this class. And all of the activities and the discussions and everything are posted there. Okay, that is the brief overview of how to navigate this course. It's fairly simple. Feel free to click around, and if you have any questions, email me. I'm glad to have you in this class. Have a great semester.